joined by the gentleman that is Ian Pettey, worked in the international moving industry going on for 37 years. Now, just a brief history, started off his career working for a small family moving business in Pretoria while simultaneously studying transport, and having completed his studies, he then joined an international corporate moving company as branch manager, and 20 years later was running the branch as their general manager, and then was approached by Crown Relocations, new to the African shores, to head up the African region for the group, and took on that particular challenge. Now, 15 years later, they have become quite a force to be reckoned with in the continent, and very, very pleased and privileged to be joined by Ian Pettey in studio this morning. Ian, welcome to the show, and how are you?
Thank you, Sam. Yeah, great to be here. Thank you, and I appreciate the invite.
Thank you. So first and foremost, Ian, before we get into the topic at hand here, I'd like to find out where your career has taken you travel-wise.
Oh, gee, Sam, it's amazing. In the moving industry, we move people to everywhere in the globe, and we I attend conferences, 4 or 5 conferences annually, in all different parts, so right from Asia to America to Australia, New Zealand, so and Europe. So we do lots. I've done so much travel.
When you talk about conferences, I mean, what are some of the things that you're tackling?
Well, the conferences that we attend are usually with moving companies around the world.
Okay.
So they're our partners. So we discuss and talk about reciprocal tonnage, and I'm sending you shipments, and what shipments are you sending back to us. So we kind of get to know the amount, or we kind of get to know people that are moving out of our country and people moving into our country. And those are people, relocations that we handle.
Absolutely. So I would imagine there is quite a big ecosystem within this particular industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yes. Yeah. Unbelievably so, and yeah, we're very mindful about the planet and what we're doing with this, with packing materials and all different ways we modernize techniques of moving.
Absolutely. Now, never mind just going on a holiday and a vacation. I mean, that in itself can sometimes bring quite a couple of headaches as well. But when it comes to relocating, what are some of the biggest challenges that people experience when moving internationally?
Yeah, initially years ago, people just worried about money and I'm moving to another country, but I think the extremely difficult challenges that have now come over the last few years is managing the geography and the culture and lifestyle of the country that you've chosen to move to. Many people leave the shores not having done their homework and not studying the cultural differences they're moving to. So you're moving out of South Africa, you're so used to the culture here. You go overseas, the culture is so change.
Yes, and you're right, in saying that sometimes people say, oh, I've got a great opportunity to live abroad, this is going to be great for my career, financially, I'll be secure, and then we talk about the cultural differences. The other thing also, Ian, is sometimes the weather. Research on the weather, moving from, a humid Durban to an icy cold Canada, for example. So let's elaborate on the cultural differences. I mean, how can that really play a role in the move itself?
Well, I think the cultural nuances in any country are very different to, we're used to South African culture. So you're moving to the UK, you tell a joke, people don't laugh at you. Small little differences like that can make you feel so uncomfortable and so not at home in the country that you've chosen to go to. That's why you do need to understand, what do people like, what don't they like, what can we talk about, what can't we talk about, and just learning what their whole culture and what their whole environment's about.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, this is where Crown, of course, comes in, and, what would the process be like? Let's take myself, for example, thinking of moving abroad. We've got the cultural aspect and element as well, where there's a big deal for me. So what is that process, and how do you take the client through?
Okay, the first obviously is to choose the country you're going to, make sure that you get quotations from moving companies like we've got, but we've also got a mobility division that helps you with with all the different settling in options, things like home search, school search. We'll help you find schools, we'll help you find a home overseas, we'll do orientation tours. So if you go over for a look-see, our agents in different parts of the world, different cities, will pick you up at the airport and take you around and give you an orientation, say the shopping centers, and we'll also give you a lot of information about what food costs in the country you're moving to. But that's very important with your settling in to a new environment.
Yeah. Do you find, Ian, that sometimes, a client, for example, has chosen a particular country, they're set on that. Do you perhaps come in and make other recommendations to say, maybe you should look at relocating elsewhere?
Yeah, I think when it comes to the client contacting the moving company, they've already made up their mind. So we have to help them just with their decision they've taken. So we've got lots of literature that we would give to the client that they can read up to help them with their transition. But they really need to look further at cross-cultural training, which we do offer, and lots of corporate companies offer that cross-cultural training, help you with languages and how to communicate to as an English-speaking South African in a different language.
Absolutely. And I would imagine that it's not just for the individual, it's family based, so we're looking at the entire family as a collective.
Yeah, a very good point there that Sam, is that your children, so often parents move because for the sake of their children, but in my advice to anybody is make sure you do it for yourself. Your kids are young enough to adapt. They will change and they will decide one day when they're adults.
I want to go back home.
Exactly. Or they want to. Why did you move? For my sake. I'm sitting in the country I don't like. I'm missing all my friends. I'm missing my granny and grandpa. And I'm sitting in England. And how do I come to terms with that? Do it for yourself. Make
Absolutely.
Sure that, but we do. We help with kids with moving programs for kiddies. We help the adults with programs for themselves, but my advice is, please, as parents, do it for yourselves.
Absolutely. Ian, have you come across, a situation where there are people who would like to come back to their home country, haven't been able to settle down, you've helped them with all the, required resources, but, it's just not working out?
Sam, it's interesting. Our industry of post-COVID has come to a point where in South Africa we're seeing a massive homecoming revolution to South Africa.
Wow.
And why is that? Because people are missing their families, missing their culture, and also wanting to come and fix up what is broke. They feel that I'd rather be in South Africa helping. I know that just just to give you an example, I live in the Fourways area, and Crown, my company, have now sponsored a company called Better Fourways. So Better Fourways is a bunch of housewives that have got together, and they are now cleaning up Fourways. They are fixing traffic lights.
Oh my
robots.
Goodness!
People are pumping money. We're giving them money. They're auditing their financials, so the money is not being abused. And people moving back to South Africa are actually getting jobs with these neighborhood cleanups.
I think that's fantastic, Ian. The only thing we're missing now is for these housewives to also direct the traffic. There's another, there's another element there. So Crown Worldwide Group. I mean, if you visit the website, Crown Worldwide businesses and staff are united behind a common purpose of making it simple to live, work, and do business anywhere around the world, providing sustainable solutions to complex challenges. And I think, the bottom line here is, Ian, that from the get-go, it's about research. And this is, of course, where you come in with all of your resources. Ian, lastly, if anybody wants to get hold of you, find out more information, thinking of starting that conversation in terms of relocating around the world, how can they do so?
Sam, you just need to go into the website, www.crownrelo.com, and we're there to help.
Ian, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm grateful to you and the rest of your team, and looking forward to having you back in studio.
Thank you, Sam.